Yet another issue has surfaced that indicates a profound difference between the Wynne Liberals and the Ford Progressive Conservatives, namely cannabis. One party believes in a bubble-wrap nanny state approach when it comes to cannabis retailing. The other hails the free market economy and treating adults as adults. Can you possibly guess which is which? So, Ontario Premier Kathleen Wynne is already condemning PC leader Doug Ford's idea about having cannabis sold by private sector retailers. As you may know, Wynne is all about promoting a doomed government monopoly approach to selling pot. By doomed, I mean the laughable idea that 38 stores in the entire province of Ontario will be able to cope with market demand. All this is going to do is guarantee that the black market for marijuana will continue to thrive once it becomes legal in the summertime. And in condemning private sector involvement, Wynne ridiculously says Ontarians don't want, quote, cannabis sold next to candy bars, end quote. Really? Based on what survey, Miss Premier? Or is this your gut feeling as the province's top nanny? Indeed, here's the deal when it comes to age-restricted products in Ontario. The private sector convenience store channel already sells numerous restricted products, including tobacco, lottery tickets, adult magazines, and fireworks. Yep, right next to the candy bars. And in smaller communities that cannot support a standalone LCBO, well, guess what? More than 200 convenience stores sell beer, wine, and spirits. Have been doing so for decades now. And yet, once again, right next to the candy bars. Incidentally, folks, just consider how perverse the government's justification for a liquor monopoly is. Namely, if you live in Ottawa, or Toronto, or Windsor, or Hamilton, and so on, you're apparently not mature enough to buy your booze at the local Max Milk. But if you reside in Little Lefroy, Ontario, well, suddenly you do indeed have the necessary maturity to buy hooch at the corner store. What nonsense. What hypocrisy. Now, the ostensible policy reason for having government controlling liquor retailing as well as cannabis retailing boils down to that murky concept known as social responsibility. Translation, the private sector is all about profit by any means. Heck, if you let those private sector guys sell liquor and pot, well, you're going to end up with a bunch of 15-year-olds hanging around in the parking lot drinking Colt 45 and smoking joints all day. But government answers to a higher authority. Only government can be entrusted to strictly enforce the ethical and moralistic rules when it comes to sinful merchandise. At least that's the argument put forth. But is that the reality? Well, in a word, no. Just check out a mystery shopping study conducted by Statopex Field Marketing 5 years ago. It was revealed that when tested with underage secret shoppers, convenience stores scored the highest challenge and refusal rate. Convenience stores scored an 87.3% pass rate. The beer store chain came in second at 80.7%, and lo and behold, the LCBO, which is owned and operated by the provincial government, came in dead last with a 74.6% pass rate. That means 1 in 4 minors successfully purchased age-restricted products from the LCBO, as opposed to 1 in 5 from the beer store and 1 in 8 for convenience stores. And again, when Premier Wynne speaks for all Ontarians regarding their supposed resistance regarding cannabis next to candy bars, what does she base that on? Case in point, in 2012, the Ontario Convenience Stores Association delivered a petition to Queen's Park calling on the Ontario legislature to allow for more competition in beer and wine sales through convenience stores. That petition boasted more than 112,000 names from more than 200 communities across the province. It was the largest single petition ever collected in the history of Ontario. Thus, if so many people don't mind the idea of lager and Chardonnay being retailed next to candy bars, would they have a problem with pot? Especially since the stats show that the convenience store channel is more socially responsible when it comes to selling age-restricted products. And by the way, the more you think about it, the more it makes sense to retail cannabis next to candy bars. Given the munchies factor that is inherent to pot smoking, aren't these two product lines complementary? I think that's called market synergy. Bottom line, folks, government's role when it comes to any product is to regulate and tax the stuff, not to warehouse and retail the stuff, especially when nanny state government monopolies tend to do such a piss-poor job of it. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, the Rebel has a brand new app. Please download that app and take the Rebel with you wherever you go.